You almost have to replace quite a bit. So you're especially in your snapping and things like that. How's everything going in special teams?
It's been great. We had a lot of guys coming back who've done it and been a part. And the full-time coaches have done a really good job guiding those guys. Giving them the things they need to work on and their tools and fundamentals. But have a lot of pieces might not have played as much, but have been with the program. Josh Plaster played at Arizona State and has some time under his belt. Luke Elzinga as a punter, was a 3-year starter, all-MAC player. Zach's coming back with a lot of experience, and just standing back and watching everything, just watching him grow as a leader has been fun, and just the steps he's taken. And then Ben Anderson, is the guy who redshirted last year as a snapper, and just his mindset. Like, he looks like an old soul. You watch him and you think he's like a 5th-year senior, just how he operates and how he handles himself, how he's taking care of his body. He's a rock star as far as that goes. So feel really good.
Talk about the process of bringing in Luke Elzinga over the winter, because I think he's a guy that you had some familiarity with him from your time at Eastern Michigan. Is that correct? Yeah.
So recruited him just a little bit out of high school, but played against him a couple times. So when the full-time coaches came in and said, we look at a transfer punter to bring some depth in and some competition, I brought his name up to Coach Finley, who runs the punt team, and went through some other stuff. But ultimately, Coach Finley ended up saying that was the guy that made the most sense with where we're at experience-wise. It's no qualm. Like, we weren't a great pooch punt team last year. Like, we were a highly rated net punt team and punt coverage, did a lot of great things, but hit 10 touchbacks, and just put our defense in spots, that were not as good as it should have been. And Luke's excellent at that. He's kind of a pooch punt specialist. So going through all that, obviously I had familiarity, and then Coach Finley thought that was the best piece for us to add into it.
You lose Marvin at punt return there. Who are some guys that maybe stood out in practice so far?
We got a plethora of guys. Rep and Coach Murray coaches those guys, does an outstanding job with the fundamentals and distractions and making those guys concentrate. But we probably got about 5 guys that we're chewing through, and ultimately as a punt returner, it's a guy who's not going to make a mistake. You got to be a great decision maker. We got to get the ball back. You can't have roll yards. I mean, there's all the essentials, and then you try to get the most explosive player that can do all that. So we're chewing through that right now, but have about 6 guys that we feel good about.
Same process for kick return?
Kick return is easier because there's not as much decision making going. And you're catching that thing. You're not getting hit as soon as you touch the ball at times. But we, between Jaleel with experience and Billy, both those guys did some really good things last year. And then some of the new guys, we probably have about 4 or 5 guys. Peyton Bowen, just explosive athletes in the mix. And excited to see how that plays out.
With Zach Schmidt coming into another year, what was the off-season evaluation process like, and what were the things you guys worked on?
Yeah, no, Coach Biedenbow coaches, the PAT unit, handles the specialists in that. So as he was going through it, you watch all the kicks. On paper, you say, oh my gosh, Zach Schmidt's not very good. We were 67%. But you go back and watch the film, you had a 55-yard that was 2 feet to the left. You had a 47-yard against West Virginia in a monsoon off the upright. Kansas was 53, 1 yard short. So Coach Biedenbow just watching all the film saying, okay, just eliminating latent movement in the ball, just hitting something cleaner, those 50-yarders that didn't kind of, wobble late was his thing to focus on.
I think Zach, he himself has mentioned his mentality, have short memory and all that, but when on paper the numbers look that way, is that any part of the process as well, just making sure his mentality's in?
Just as a team, Coach V always just talks about being process-oriented, 1-0. It's not about the results, and it's twofold, because in this profession as a player, like you are judged off, in his situation, did you make the kick or not? Did you win or not? But as a kicker and a specialist, the ball's in the air a long time, and once that ball's in the air, you don't control it, whether you're a snapper, or a punter, or a kicker. So having that mindset to what can I truly focus on, what can I truly control, and then sometimes you're going to get a gust and it gets you. But just having that, control the controllables for sure.
When you look at when it comes time to make fourth-quarter kicks or game-winning kicks or stuff like that, what kind of qualities do you look for during the week in practice, during spring practice, or whatever?
No, Coach Biedenbow and Coach V do a great job as far as just, okay, these are the situations we need to hit, and these are the type of kicks we need to hit in practice to get confidence with it. And then on game day, Coach V makes that decision with what we've done, where we're at, what the situation of the game is, how is the offense, defense done, decides in that situation, what's the best decision for us.
Is all the rule changes to make the game safer with efficiency of kickers and punters. Are special teams less important than they used to be, or the chance of big plays less?
Yeah, no. It's different with a lot of the rules. I mean, they've trying to cut down on the amount of kickoff returns is the big thing right now, with the fair catches and touchbacks getting bumped up. But a lot of people just look on the analytics of it, and if you got a really good returner, people are going to want to, hey, let's press the envelope and hope for the explosive play. So I think it's team by team basis. Just all the people I know, I think that's, hey, do we have a guy that has a chance to change the game? If so, I don't care if it's 4 yards deep, let's bring it out and let's try to get it going. And hey, if we're just kind of average, take the ball at the 25, let's not hurt the offense. So I think that's the process teams go through when deciding how to handle that stuff.
Is that another factor, is the efficiency of offenses? Higher scoring than ever?
No doubt.
Why risk losing the ball when you just take it and drive it down?
Yeah, a lot of those head coaches that are offensive guys, and hey, we're explosive, we're great, just give us the ball at the 25, we're going to be fine anyway, and don't take a penalty and put us in a bad situation to waste a deal. I think there's a lot of that for sure, no doubt.
How did you become sort of a special team specialist?
Well, I kind of a unique path. So I played at Pittsburgh State, D2 school in Southeast Kansas. Was a center many pounds ago. And GA'd there for a year, and then had an opportunity to go volunteer. Got paid, peanuts, to hang out with a guy named Jerry Kill at the University of Minnesota, and he coached the specialists and special teams, and so I was just with him at all times of the day, and just kind of soaked it up as a sponge. Met a lot of people like the Coles kicking guys. Did my internship with the Minnesota Vikings. And was with those specialists, and just kind of the growing, rule of 10,000. I've never kicked a football, but have watched about 10,000 reps of it. And then, from there I went to Southern Illinois to Eastern Michigan. And my role here is different, obviously, as an analyst, and being off the field and not coaching coaches or coaching players, but when I can appropriately helping the coaches with, here's what I'm seeing, and giving them tools when I can. But that's kind of my journey in a nutshell there.
What are the benefits and the challenges maybe of that role that you talk about with not being an on-the-field coach, but sort of coaching through the coaches?
There's frustrations at times, because you're seeing something that's not playing out, exactly how it was planned. But when you're on the field, your hands are tied, like you're back, and you can't get in the middle of it and fix things. So you're kind of biting your tongue and writing all kinds of notes. And okay, we go back in after practice, and okay, this is what went wrong, and this is what we got to do to fix it. But those guys are great coaches, and they're doing their thing. I'm just a tool and a vessel to assist them. But Coach Finley does the punt team, is outstanding. Coach Hall and the kickoff team, but all those assistants are involved in everything, which has been awesome.
What's it been like for you the last year or so to be back in Oklahoma?
It's fun, to be honest with you, just driving down Lindsay Street. I grew up in Alva, which is 3 hours away, and my best friend and I, growing up, our senior year, bought his uncle's season tickets. So we'd play Friday night, we'd wake up at 6 to drive down and catch the 11 o'clock kickoffs. We'd park Lloyd Noble and walk all the way down Asprey. So for me, it's a blast. And my wife's from Bartlesville, so getting her to come home and around grandparents more and all that, it's a treat. So,
you talked about Smith a little bit. Who else is kind of battling for the place kicking job?
Yeah, no, we have Gavin Marshall is on our roster. Came in earlier in Raleigh last spring. He does some really good things. Kind of battling an injury right now, but a talented player. And then Reddy is a kid that joined our team this spring. Played at NEO. And has made some steps this year. So he's got most of the kicks with some of the injury stuff, but we've got a lot of strong legs in the room. So
he's a big kid.
He is a big kid, big strong kid. Is serious, and kind of the same situation for me. He's an Oklahoma kid. This was his dream. So he's just working hard every day and enjoying the process.
We're a gold bug and a gorilla.
I got to the Gophers to
the Gophers.
No doubt. So I've had a lot of good nicknames for sure.
Hey, thanks. Nice meeting you.
Thank you guys so much.